is. Sweet.
I'm glad to see you.
Get special offers on select Lexus RX models.
Problems may seem small at first, then they grow bigger and bigger. Don't let your creditors hound you.
Call us before your problems grow out of control.
Clay's, McElroy, Wrdw, and Kitchens can help you stop repossessions, foreclosures, and garnishments.
Call us for your free consultation. Nights and weekends available on request.
My mom can help.
My mom too.
Clay's, McElroy, Wrdw, and Kitchens. Our family helping yours.
The Wilson family when you trade in an eligible vehicle.
You're watching News 12 on your side.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, millions are getting ready to hit the road for Thanksgiving, and across the area, community groups are also preparing to feed anyone in need. Our team coverage starts in a moment.
But first, we're tracking rain moving across the area. It's been rolling across the entire southeast most of the day. For families leaving tonight, it may slow down travel plans a little bit.
So, Mikkel, what are we expecting tonight through the morning hours?
Well, definitely we are looking at just these cloudy conditions that we have seen for today, continuing into tonight. We have seen a rainfall tonight into tomorrow morning coming up in the full forecast.
Mikkel, thanks a lot. Our top story tonight, millions expected to hit the airports and the roadways ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday. This is video of I-20 at the state line just a few moments ago, right after sunset, and you can see traffic just coming and going. It's been a busy day all day.
Yeah, a busy day. And while you're on the way to your holiday destination, Highway Patrol is going to be on the ground and in the air to make sure you get there safely. Our Hallie Turner joins us live from our overlook on Riverwatch Parkway. So, Hallie, what can drivers expect out there this year?
Well, a lot of families are out here getting a jump start on the holiday travel. Things have really picked up out here on I-20 since about 5 p.m. as drivers are getting off of work and hitting the road. But tomorrow morning from about 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. will be the absolute worst time to travel.
That's why Aaron Bird is trying to beat the rush, flying out of town tonight, hoping to avoid the madness of Wednesday.
Oh my God, it's Thanksgiving holiday. Everybody, it's like I think of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It's an old movie. If you've seen it, you know.
To avoid finding himself in a Neil Page situation, he's leaving early by plane.
I don't like the hustle bustle. I'd rather just relax, get to where I'm going, and yeah, there you go.
It's one reason Aaron's so grateful this Thanksgiving to have a place to go after beating addiction 6 years ago.
I didn't used to have anything to eat, and now I'm literally standing in Augusta Regional Airport talking to you and, flying home to people that I didn't used to have in my life.
And whether you're traveling by car or plane, eager to see your loved ones, Highway Patrol says slow is the way to go.
We just want you to have a safe holiday season. We want everybody to get to their destination safely.
According to AAA, more people are expected on the roads in both South Carolina and Georgia than last year. To make sure the busiest areas are covered, South Carolina Highway Patrol is partnering with South Carolina DNR, adding more eyes in the sky this year with choppers clocking speeders from above.
It's used on the interstate. They can track speed just as if you're in a car.
And they'll radio down to troopers waiting below.
Arrive alive.
Now, GDOT says they're suspending lane closures on Georgia interstates, major state routes, roads near malls, and more starting at 5 p.m. tomorrow and through about 10 p.m. Sunday to help with that traffic flow.
And it'll certainly help to open up that traffic. Don't have to stop for any construction. And a heads up, drivers, you can expect one lane closure on I-20 on the eastbound side starting at exit 200 to the end of the Savannah River Bridge. This will be the right-hand lane. Crews are trying to cram this in before the holiday travel. They're pouring concrete for the new bridge there, but don't worry, they say that closure will be over by 5 in the morning in time for the worst of the holiday travel.
I think traffic's picking up as we speak out there, and some of you may be packing for that trip right now, just 2 days away from Thanksgiving.
For others, traveling to see family or preparing a big meal is a luxury they can't afford. So as Nick Veland reports, community groups are stepping in to make it possible.
Well, here at Toast in downtown Augusta, they've been serving food all afternoon. For 6 straight hours, they've been serving the community to give back during this holiday season.
We try to take care of anybody that comes in our doors that's in need or hungry.
With 2 days to go until Thanksgiving, across the river in New Ellington, those are prepping plates.
So we just wanted to be a blessing back to the community.
New Zion Branch Ministries gives out turkey going on 24 years. This year reaching new heights of more than 700 plates.
It's important that people know that someone is thinking about them and that they are loved. And this is our way of showing God's love to other people and lifting their spirits up.
At Josie High School, volunteers greeted cars in the rain to feed the community the staples of turkey, mashed potatoes, and stuffing.
It ain't nothing but a smile and say, have a good day.
The class of 1994 alumni from Josie puts on this event annually, going on 13 years.
Because I was a student at Josie. This is my foundation. The school means a lot to me. The community means a lot to me. So I can't really put it into words how it feels, but it's just overwhelmingly a great feeling to be able to give back to my community.
We always had a great alumni association, and I'm glad to be a part of that.
Throughout the area, from Georgia to South Carolina, people coming together for the community with hopes to give everyone a reason to be thankful, not just over the holiday season, but for the entire year.
Every day is Thanksgiving, not just one day, every day.
And here at Toast, this isn't just a holiday event. The owner says that he does this monthly. For more information on when the next dates are, he says he posts to social media and also says the next one will be on December 21st. In Augusta, Nick Veland on your side.
I like his theory. Every day is Thanksgiving.
I love that. And if you miss out on any of these we talked about, there are a lot of other public events on Thanksgiving Day to make sure you go with a warm meal.
Right. On Thanksgiving Day, the Heart to Heart Prescription Assistance Foundation and other partners plan to host a dinner and community event near the U-Haul Moving and Storage Place off Gordon Highway. They're going to be giving out care packages over there with clothing, toiletries, and more from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. And the Salvation Army hosting a dinner at 5:30, and that's at the Center of Hope. That dinner is going to be provided by T-Bones.
2 hours ago, the GBI announced the arrest of 3 teens following the shootout in Townsend last week that claimed the life of a 14-year-old. They say last Friday they arrested 18-year-old DeQuadrez Walker and 15-year-old Cameron McNair. They're charged with gang activity and 2 other felony charges. Yesterday, investigators arrested 16-year-old Tiisa Williams for felony murder for her involvement in that case. All 3 being held at the Augusta Youth Detention Center. The child care crisis grows as more families pull out of Georgia's subsidy program and daycares across the state close down.
Pandemic money to child care facilities ended 2 months ago. Senior investigative reporter Liz Hutchinson covers the impact of the child care cliff.
Well, parents face 2 big challenges: rising costs of childcare and long wait lists at daycares. The sudden surge of daycare closings is now making it more difficult than ever for parents to afford to work.
Waynesboro, Georgia, officially the bird dog capital of the world. Unofficially, the child capital of the river region. Kids make up more than 1/3 of the town's population.
We have free play, we do snack.
Nearly half of which live in poverty.
If they're late enough, we also do dinner.
1.5 times the rate in Augusta, Richmond County, and twice the rate in Georgia.
That's a long day. That's a very long day.
Shatora Ratkins is part owner of the Child's World Daycare and Academy.
Parents are having to work 2 jobs, or their main job is asking for 12 hours.
A 9-to-5 job is a luxury in Waynesboro. More than half of the families here work in industries that require shift work. A licensed, quality-rated daycare with a late after-school program is the foundation of this town's workforce.
I want to say like now the house is on fire.
A worker at Chick-fil-A earns more an hour on average than a worker at a daycare in Augusta. Turnover in childcare was a problem prior to the pandemic, but the mixture of kids and COVID was like putting lighter fluid on an already burning industry.
There's a lot of people who are struggling. A lot of people who are struggling, and they just can't keep up because, like I said, they're having to compete with bigger industries.
Georgia's Child Care Stabilization Program helped keep the fire at bay through the last 3 years, but funding stopped in September.
So for a lot of our friends in the industry, a lot of people are suffering. They were suffering before the pandemic, right? And so the money kind of came in and like held them over. And now it's kind of like back to where they were, or some even worse.
The I-Team discovered more than 100 daycares closed or changed ownership this year in Georgia. Half of them just in the last 2 months. Among the reasons the I-Team discovered
loss of funding, difficulty recruiting and or retaining staff, operating costs too high.
So they're closing their doors, they're downsizing, and depending on where you're located, if you downsize a classroom enough, it becomes like it's not even worth it to stay open.
Davis's Little Angels, less than half a mile from a Child's World in Waynesboro, closed its doors a week after funding stopped. Meanwhile,
What's the wait list here?
centers that are open
Right now we're over into the spring of next year.
what? Are now adjusting to a sudden increase in enrollment.
Friends that are also in the business, like, what, do they have similar wait lists?
They have similar wait lists, yeah.
Long wait lists are only half the battle for low-income working parents.
So for the pandemic, for 3 years, parents who were receiving caps paid nothing. The state covered it all. And then as of October 1st, that stopped. And so parents are now responsible for the family fee.
More than half of the kids enrolled at Ratkins Daycare and after-school program are on child care subsidies.
We've had parents who've had to unenroll their kids because they're like, I just can't do it, because they receive raises on their jobs, but they're in the same place they were before the pandemic.
The I-Team found the number of families not renewing child care subsidies in Augusta is 50% higher than last year. Statewide, the number is 30% higher.
So things are either going slipping on one end, or they're gonna take their kids out because they just can't afford it, and they're gonna leave their kids with grandma or a cousin, or like I said, an older sibling is gonna have to now provide that care.
Or the parent leaves the workforce. State officials told the I-Team they are unable to associate the reason for not participating with the introduction of the deductible or family fee that went into effect for service weeks beginning on or after October 2nd, 2023.
I think a lot of people, top down, like I said, didn't realize how foundational our industry is. So it was already shaky. It was already kind of burning.
Now, a 5-alarm fire.
I can tell you that fire has definitely caught the attention of our elected leaders. They're working on solutions on all levels. So, for example, Senator Warnock is among some in Congress pushing to extend funds to daycares. He's also wants to create a program which allows Head Start teachers to work and earn their degree at the same time. Others are discussing ways with local leaders to entice companies into providing childcare for their workforce. Before, there is no workforce.
Snowball effect that starts with daycare. Liz, thanks so much. It's one of those offices where the work can be overwhelming. We're going to meet the pup on duty in the coroner's office after an amazing rescue.
We are tracking rainfall chances coming back later tonight, lasting into the first half of Wednesday before a much improved forecast heading into Thanksgiving. We'll talk about it coming up next.
The Richmond County Coroner's Office has a new staff member walking the halls.
He won't be working any cases, but he is helping boost spirits there in the office. Will Rio introduces us to Lucas.
At the Richmond County Coroner's Office. They have a new office pet named Lucas. But the story behind how they found Lucas is one that Deputy Coroner Chad Cheek will never forget.
I heard a dog barking in the canal, which is kind of unusual. And immediately I thought, well, what's a dog doing in the water? And I wanted to make sure that maybe the owner of the dog wasn't in the water.
He walked over the bridge right next to the coroner's office to check the canal.
Yeah, just let me see what he can do. If he can't do it, he will.
That's where he found Lucas, stuck in lily pads, shaking in the freezing water. Cheek tight-roped across the pipe and grabbed Lucas out of the water.
He was very cold, very, very frightened, and hanging on. And if he'd have let loose, I don't believe he'd have made it trying to swim through the lily pads.
He even called for backup.
And the fire department showed up, and they attempted a rescue with a lasso, and we attempted to build the dog a bridge. But apparently we wasn't very good at lassoing and building bridges.
A firefighter gave up his jacket to help keep Lucas warm while they got him to dry land.
He was my buddy until he met his new mom, our amazing administrative assistant, Elise. And she's now got her a great dog if the adoption goes through as planned.
Cheek says trust your gut when something doesn't sound right.
A good lesson for everybody is if when you hear somebody in need and the dog was actually barking like Lassie, the old Lassie classic bark that help, I'm in trouble or something bad has gone wrong, probably ought to listen to it and try to help people.
In Augusta, Will Rio on your side.
A great rescue with a happy ending there.
And a home for Thanksgiving.
It's all perfect.
I mean, that's Hallmark material.
And what balance as he went there barefoot across that pipe.
That is the true test. Yeah.
Well done.
After 14 years, there is a new chief in town over in North Augusta. We sit down with the next chief of public safety after the break.
First Alert Radar.
We are excited to announce that the Medicare Specialist is now 64 Insurance Group. And while we've expanded our portfolio to include other health insurance products, we are still your go-to for all things Medicare. Don't wait until you're 65 to call. AreYou64.com.
Hey, Chill, what's the matter?
Man, this name change is stressing me out.
Everyone will know we still specialize in Medicare.
Yeah, I know that, but what about this?
AreYou64.com.
Starting January 1st, Captain Junior Johnson will take over at the North Augusta Department of Public Safety. A big change considering current Chief John Thomas took over that position in 2009. That is 14 years on the job.
A new chief and a new headquarters coming soon. Our Taylor Martin sat down with Johnson to learn how he's getting ready for the job ahead.
Captain Junior Johnson says he has big shoes to fill.
He's done an excellent job over the last 14 and a half years, setting the example, modeling integrity, and I hope to pick that up and run with it just like he has.
Growing up in the North Augusta area, he has more than 20 years of experience serving the community in public safety. And in those 20 years, he says he's learned the importance of integrity in law enforcement.
Public puts a lot of trust in the public safety profession. We do police and fire. They're two very noble professions. And it's very important that you live your life and work your work that way.
As North Augusta grows, he says it's important public safety grows with it, but not entirely at the expense of taxpayers.
But one of the things that we'd like to look for is to see if we can find alternative ways to fund some of this expansion through the use of grants.
One of his biggest goals as chief is to continue to strengthen the connection between public safety and the community.
Usually when people have to call the police department, it's one of the worst days of their lives. And when they have to make that call and someone shows up and it's a familiar face, it just lets them feel more comfortable and knows that we're there, we care about them.
Hoping the increased visibility lowers crime. Reporting in North Augusta, Taylor Martin on your side.
Captain Johnson says he hopes to continue community events like Cookies with Cops and Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee to familiarize everybody with the community, with public safety.
And best of luck to Chief Thomas as he heads into retirement in January. Okay, there are renewed efforts now to find the suspect behind a double murder that happened here back in 2021. Hilton and Jeanette Turner were married 55 years. Richmond County deputies say they were both killed February 15th of 2021. The Turners were both retired. Jeanette was mostly bedridden, but deputies found the couple dead in their home on Hale Street in Augusta the day after the death. Now, the family is offering a $5,000 reward for any information about that double murder. If you know anything, call the sheriff's office. You can stay anonymous. We're back with more news.
This month is Yes.
That's all our time for now. Our next live update, 7 o'clock on NBC 26. See you there.
At the CBS Evening News, we focus on solutions, finding solutions to help people understand what are the right choices to make for you and your family.
Let's take another look at tonight's winning numbers. Remember, there are multiple ways to win. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you back here Wednesday night.
Live from Augusta, we're watching News 1226 at 11.
New at 11, people in Thompson are concerned about violence in the town after a 14-year-old died after a shooting there.
That shooting was last Tuesday, and the McDuffie County coroner says Jonathan Johnson died at the hospital on Saturday. Mayor-elect Benji Cranford releasing a statement this evening saying, "I'm keeping the family and all the Thompson's youth in my prayers. You don't have to be an elected official to be disappointed with this news. All of Thompson is hurting due to this senseless crime. I promise when my administration is sworn in, the youth will be on our priority list." Cindy Hood, live in our newsroom tonight. Cindy, what are people there in Thompson saying about this latest shooting?
They are beyond upset, as you can imagine, but they want this to be a wake-up call to other community members, saying they all need to come together and talk.
When most of us think of a small town like Thompson, we also think quiet. There's a sound heard too often here. What you're hearing are multiple gunshots.
Thompson used to be a place where you can leave your front door unlocked.
But times have changed.
It used to be a place where, where people cared about one another, but it's not like that anymore.
He wants Thompson to start talking about the issues.
I grew up here, and I know that Thompson is an alright place. We have a lot of gun violence here, a lot of people dying from gun violence, and that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest issue right now.
Compared to when he grew up, if you asked him how things are now,
this ain't the same place.
But he says that can change.
As a community, we just come together and reach out to the young people and try to talk to them. Just have a conversation with them and see if we can't change something. Anything just to take these kids' mind off all this gun violence.
This case is still an active investigation in the hands of the GBI. They said they'll release more information once an arrest is made.
And we are hoping that is soon. A small town pretty shaken up by a violent crime.
Also new at 11, 3 people arrested in connection to an alleged drug smuggling scheme at the Augusta State Medical Prison in Grovetown. Police Chief Jamie Kitchens telling us the 3 smuggled marijuana and meth in the prison using a drone. Gerald Jimenez, Jocelyn Apazia, and Israel Walters are all facing trafficking of meth and possession of marijuana charges. They're in the Columbia Detention Center, and they say more charges could be coming in that case. To Weather Now is give you a live look at
threat in place for tomorrow as we head into your Tuesday coming up.
All right, thanks, Mikkel. The DOT warning of bad weather in parts of the country during the week of Thanksgiving travel.
Brendan Cullerton in our Washington News Bureau with a look at how they're working to improve travel nationally.
The Department of Transportation says nearly 32,000 flights were canceled last December alone. But this time around, it will be easier to get over the river and through the woods. Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says flight cancellation numbers have dropped compared to 2022, when delays and cancellations soared during the holidays.
Winter weather may challenge airlines in the next few weeks, but so far, 2023 has seen the lowest cancellation rate in the last 5 years at just 1.3%. It's much lower than last year. It's lower even than before the pandemic.
The FAA expects about 50,000 U.S. flights on Wednesday alone. They are opening some restricted airspace normally reserved for military on the East Coast for Thanksgiving travel. They have also coordinated with the commercial space industry to ensure no launches are scheduled.
We will be working around the clock to make sure passengers get to their destinations safely. These initiatives lessen inland volume and reduce delays.
If your flight is canceled, Buttigieg wants you to know that major airlines now have policies in place to reimburse you.
Now, almost all of them guarantee hotels and ground transportation, and all of them guarantee covering meals. That is real money back in the pockets of travelers in America.
The DOT is encouraging travelers to reach out if airlines are not following delay or cancellation protocol. In Washington, I'm Brendan Cullerton.
So lots of optimism heading into this, but it's about to be put to the test.
Especially with some bad weather for parts of the country.
Yeah, that's always the big question mark, how we're going to deal with that rain coming in. Parts of I-10 out west reopening just in time for holiday travel in L.A., a very busy stretch there, much sooner than they expected, too. Parts of that roadway closed for 8 days after a massive fire fueled by wooden pallets that shut the roadway down. They built new support columns under the roadway, but there's still a couple of off and on ramps shut down in this construction zone. Fire investigators have ruled the cause as arson. Aiken County deputies need your help finding a man wanted for sexual assault. Dazon Paget is wanted for multiple charges, including 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct of a minor. Deputies say the charges stem from an investigation that started back in July. Paget is 5'8", about 140 pounds. If you know where he is, call law enforcement.
A Grovetown middle school teacher is under arrest. The Columbia County School District sent a letter to parents saying Kimberly Barnes was arrested on fraud charges in Edgefield County. Sheriff Rowland says the arrest was from a warrant from March of 2022. The sheriff says Barnes is charged with transaction card theft after she used another teacher at Jet Middle School's card to purchase some items. Officials say a substitute teacher will be in Barnes' place. In Oconee County, the community...
Live from Augusta, breaking news.
Breaking news in just the last hour, Aiken County deputies arrested a suspect on the run following an officer-involved shooting. He's also accused of stealing a Wagner police car and leading officers on a manhunt on the busiest travel night of the year.
SLED now taking the lead in this case that started earlier this evening in Wagner. Officials say Devin Davenport is the suspect in custody right now, and we found a lengthy list of charges and traffic infractions for him on file, including a felony DUI with great bodily injury as a result. He was sentenced to 7 years for that case back in 2015.
Deputies say he eventually ditched the patrol car. At some point, someone spotted him and called 911. Then deputies found him on Holstein Road near Sam Dam Road. After a short chase, they caught him.
Moving on now, we've got some rain moving in tonight.
Winds picking up for tomorrow, as well as some cooler air moving in for our Thanksgiving. We'll talk about that in your full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Mikhail. It's been a week now since a shootout in Thompson that killed a 14-year-old.
Today, the GBI announced 3 teenagers are behind bars in connection to the felony murder of Jonathan Johnson. 2 of them are also facing gang charges. The GBI says DeQuadras Walker, Cameron McNair, and Tykezia Williams are all in the Augusta Youth Detention Center. The shooting is now expanding the push for more resources for teenagers in the area. Sydney Hood live in our newsroom. Sydney talked with one of those groups looking to find solutions. What do they say?
They agreed the need is there, and it's grown in the last year. Now, Thompson is a small town, and they don't want to lose another life to gun violence, but it's going to take an entire community effort to create change. That's where the McDuffie County Youth Council NAACP comes in.
We want to teach our children how to move forward in American society. Our focus is the youth, because they are the future.
Making sure the future is there for the younger generation is the first step.
We feel it's our mission and our job to create those collaborative relationships in the community, because we have shied away from the village mentality.
It takes a village to raise a child, but it takes an even bigger village to find solutions.
So if that means we need to go in the community, and while we picking up Coke bottles, talk to you about what needs to be done, so be it.
And so they go out on these community cleanups to spark conversations.
We're trying to get to the root cause of the issue. And a lot of the violence is unfortunately coming from or going towards the kids we're trying to reach. So that was one way we tried to connect to them.
And it starts with talking with one another.
Because the last thing we want to do is, of course, have you back here reporting on another death of senseless violence, or reporting on another theft.
Now, the Youth Council not only works with the community, but police, schools, and churches, anything to reach younger people from every possible direction.
Important work they are doing, and we'll continue to follow their progress. Thanks for that, Sydney. The Aiken Department of Public Safety says it needs your help finding a man wanted on 3 counts of sexual conduct with a minor. Police say Frank Holmes is 5'7", he weighs 150 pounds. He's known to be in the Aiken and Greenwood area, so if you know where he may be, call authorities.
A man in Orangeburg County facing charges of vehicle fraud after allegedly stealing a car from a dealership. SLED says Jeremy Felder allegedly stole a GMC Yukon registered with a different VIN number that did not match the actual VIN for the car. Court documents show it was stolen from a dealership in Myrtle Beach worth about $64,000. Investigators say Felder paid more than $42,000 for the stolen car with a stolen identity. This Saturday, flags will fly at half-staff across the U.S. for former First Lady Rosalind Carter, who died Sunday at 96 years old. President Biden says they'll be flown at half-staff at the White House, at public buildings, at military posts, and more on that day. The president says Carter provided hope and commitment to address issues as First Lady of Georgia and the U.S. That includes equal rights for women and girls, and she was an advocate also for mental health. One woman who is a friend of the Carters is remembering Rosalind and the impact the couple had on their community.
But she has left us such a wonderful map. I have so much that I've learned from both of them that every day I try to promise myself I'm going to use one of those things they have taught me. And maybe if I bless somebody else, all I ask is that they bless somebody else.
Public visitation for Carter will be next Monday through Wednesday at the Carter Center in Atlanta, with a tribute set for Tuesday. A storm system pushing across the eastern U.S. Could slow down Thanksgiving travel for millions of people.
Heavy rain could pummel parts of southern Alabama all the way up to New York. Areas further north could even see snow. Jen Sullivan has more on how the severe weather could impact your travel plans.
Millions of Americans are under the threat of severe weather, just as travelers set off to celebrate Thanksgiving. Strong thunderstorms, heavy downpours, damaging winds, and even snow could spoil your Thanksgiving travel plans.
We're expecting 1 to 2 inches of rain.
New York City bracing for possible flooding Tuesday night. A travel advisory is in effect through Wednesday morning. It's part of a powerful system that's moving east, impacting at least 24 states. It could disrupt air travel in large hubs like New York, Atlanta, Boston, and Washington, D.C.
The FAA's command center, as usual, is working closely with airlines to plan for and plan around any disruptive weather.
AAA estimates more than 55 million Americans will travel this week. It's expected to be one of the busiest Thanksgiving travel periods in years. Passengers bracing for the chaos.
I didn't know what to expect because travel here is always so crazy.
Boarding pass? The Transportation Security Administration warning passengers to arrive early.
I have exactly 2 hours to go to the checkpoint, get some breakfast, and go on time.
Others simply packing a positive attitude.
Take it easy, be calm, things happen, don't stress about it.
The good news? By Thanksgiving Day, much of the central and eastern U.S. will see dry conditions. And that's something to be thankful for. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
And that smiling guy was traveling with a baby. Good for him. AAA says more people are expected on the roads in both South Carolina and Georgia than last year. And to make sure the busiest areas are covered, state troopers are stepping up their patrols as well. The South Carolina Highway Patrol is partnering with SCDNR to add choppers in the air, tracking people who are speeding. The choppers then radio down to the troopers waiting below.
We just want you to have a safe holiday season. We want everybody to get to their destination safely. It's used on the interstate. They can track speed just as if you're in a car.
And as troopers appear, work crews will disappear. GDOT will suspend lane closures on interstates, major state routes, and roads from 5 in the morning until 10 o'clock Sunday night.
More than 49 million people are expected to be hitting the roads for Thanksgiving. That's up 1.7% from last year. According to AAA, in Georgia, the average gas price is at $2.81 a gallon. In South Carolina, it's at $2.93 a gallon. Both states are below the national average, which is at $3.29 a gallon. It's down nearly 40 cents from a year ago. The national average gas prices could hit the lowest level since 2020, but despite the drop in prices at the pump, road trip expenses, we know those can add up. So Gas Buddy experts suggest taking a look at gas prices from state to state, trying to strategically plan those fill-ups.
It always can pay to shop around, especially with prices now declining for 9 straight weeks. Some stations are lowering their prices much quicker than others.
He says you also should take advantage of perks like loyalty programs to get discounts, or use a rebate credit card, or pay in cash as some places offer those cash discounts. More good news for your wallet. Your Thanksgiving dinner is going to be a little cheaper this year compared to last. Still will cost more than it did before the pandemic. The American Farm Bureau Federation says a dinner for 10 people will cost an average of $61. That's 4.5% less than last year's record of more than $64, but still 25% more than in 2019.
Before you cook that dinner, the National Fire Protection Association is out with some safety tips. Some of those include keeping an eye on what you're cooking and make sure items like oven mitts, towels, and utensils are away from that stovetop. You should also keep a fire extinguisher nearby and make sure the smoke alarms are working. State Farm, by the way, ranks Georgia as the top state for cooking and grease fire claims. North Carolina ranks number 5 on that same list. Different groups will be offering free Thanksgiving dinners coming up Thursday. The Feast in the Street is providing a dinner and toiletry items to those in need. It's on the corner of Monument and Broad Street at Cafe 209 from 11 until 1 on Thursday. The Salvation Army of Augusta hosting a meal at 5:30 in the evening at the Center of Hope. And in Aiken, the Salvation Army is hosting a dinner from 11 until 2 right there on Park Avenue.
Tomorrow is the last day the Shepherd Blood Center is giving out free turkey and ham certificates to donors. The certificates can be used at any store accepting manufacturers' coupons. For a full list of where you can go to donate, go to WRDW.com.
There's progress on the new Wagner Salley High School